What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to Maps Exposed. This is the series where I cover all the lines of sight and jump spots, as well as heat maps, and finally spawns for every map in Black Ops 4 multiplayer. In today's episode, we're going to be moving on to firing range. And first up, let's have a look at the hotspots on firing range. As you can see here, the entire map is a hotspot, but realistically speaking, from my experience, most of the fighting tends to go on either in or around the three middle buildings. We have the tin building, the wood building, as well as the trailer or long building or white trailer, whatever you want to call it. People have various names for that. But generally speaking, most of the fighting tends to take place between these three buildings, and most of the time people are fighting for control of these buildings. So if you're looking for action, honestly you don't really have to go that far in firing range, but head to one of these three buildings and you're most likely to find somebody fighting for control of it. So now that we have that covered, let's start moving into the lines of sight as well as jump spots, and I've got a ton for you on firing range. This is one of the older school maps, and with those maps, they tend to have a lot of great lines of sight. So first up, over by the C domination building here, we've got a few that are really useful. The first one that I really like using, I use this quite often. If I know enemies are flanking around that side there, this is the best way to challenge them. They usually don't expect this. You're only exposing a very small portion of yourself, and you'll win this gunfight more often than not against those people. Another great spot in here, and this one is actually a long shot spot as well, is if you jump up on the table here, you get a great line of sight over towards those sandbags, which is quite common, the window in the wood building over there, as well as anybody that might be peeking around that area right over there. Now getting over to these tables, if you jump up here, you get a great line of sight into the doorway over there coming out of bottom tin. And also, if you strafe all the way to the corner of this table here, you're kind of floating at this point, but as far over as you can, you actually get a line of sight in towards that area right there, so you can pick those people off as they're coming through that shipping container. Now getting into top 10 here, I see a ton of people, they mantle up here, then they mantle in here, and that's how they get up here. There's actually a much more efficient way. If you just come to the side of it right here, you can simply jump and mantle straight up, and that will save you just a little bit of time, but especially in an opening route, if you're trying to cut this doorway off right here, that is definitely going to give you the extra second that you need to take those guys out. Now, when you're in top 10 and the enemies are spawning down in that area there, one thing you can do, assuming you know that you're safe over here, you can actually peek around this way and pick them off through there. Or another thing you can do is you can actually look through the doorway right here and you can shoot through this. This grate actually doesn't do anything. It doesn't block your bullets at all. So you can easily pick people off as they come through that doorway. They'll have no idea what hit them. On the other side of top 10, some people have realized that you can mantle up on here and then mantle in, but once again, there's a much more efficient method. If you just run straight into the wall and then double tap X, that'll mantle you right up into the building here. You don't want to be jumping from a distance and trying to mantle because that won't work. You have to actually run into the wall first, then jump, then hit X again, and that'll get you up here a little bit more efficiently than mantling up here first and then mantling in. Another thing over in this area, a great way to challenge the people that get set up in that white trailer right there, which is really common in domination. That building actually controls the B domination flag very, very effectively, and you'll usually have people set up in that window, and they can be a little bit difficult to challenge. However, if you jump up here like this, that is, in my opinion, the best way to challenge them if you're coming from the bottom side of the map, and you can very easily win that gunfight against them. Now, getting over towards B domination, if the enemies are spawning down low there, I see a lot of people, they'll just like crouch right here behind the sandbags. This is exactly where they expect you to be. So instead, a great alternative is to just hop up on the barrel and peek over top this way here. They usually won't expect this from you. Now, getting to the bottom spawn area, unfortunately, they did cut off an old line of sight that was really, really nice in firing range. There used to be a line of sight into the sniper tower over there from all the way back in the spawn. They've completely cut that off, which is really unfortunate because I really felt like that was a great counter to the people that would get set up there, and I thought it was totally fair and balanced as well. But unfortunately, that one's gone, although we do have another line of sight here, and this is for the people that are coming on the back path there. Sometimes they'll even spawn trap you. If you guys get spawn trapped down here and you try to break out this way, they'll be set up on that barrel and they'll pick you off the moment you come around this corner because you have no cover at all. So a great way to break out of that is simply jump on top of the car here, and if you stand up, you'll be able to see them peeking their heads up over the barrel there, and that'll be a very easy kill because they won't be looking this far back. Now, getting over towards the A domination side of the map, a great way to challenge the people that are top 10, more specifically in the window of top 10, which is really, really common, and they can be quite difficult to pick off if you come to this area here, because that's where they expect you to be. Assuming you're spawning back here, which is most likely going to be the case, all you have to do is actually jump up on top of this car, and there you go. Excellent line of sight on them. You can also strafe over, and you can get a line of sight on them over there, and they normally don't expect you to be here, so it's usually a free long shot for you. Now, as for the wood building here by the A domination flag, I see a lot of people, if they want to get to the second story, they'll either take the stairs, which is the really obvious way, or they'll try and be a little bit less obvious, and they'll jump up like this. or they'll take the ladder. And these just aren't the best ways. All you have to do, instead of taking this ladder, never use this ladder again. Run up to this, just like with the tin building where you run into it, double tap X, there you go. You're up in top wood, and you didn't have to waste all that time jumping on a ladder and dealing with all those animations. You're simply up here basically instantly using that technique. Same thing actually works from this angle as well. So assuming you're coming off spawn here and you want to get up into the top wood, just run into the building, then double tap X. There you go. You're up top and ready to go. Now, another line of sight I wanted to point out is sometimes you've got people in the white trailer there. They'll be peeking through that doorway and helping to spawn trap everybody back here. So if you manage to get up on top wood, instead of challenging them from here where you don't really have much cover and they usually expect this or they'll be paying attention to this area, what you can do is you can actually peek around the side like this and pick them off right there. They usually won't be expecting you right here, and normally you'll be winning that gunfight. So now that we have that covered, let's move into spawns. And just like with all the other episodes, this is based on linear team-based modes like TDM, Domination, Kill Confirmed, Control. It doesn't necessarily apply to Free-for-All or Hardpoint, for instance. But for primary spawns, there's actually 3 primary spawn zones. There's the one that's down low, there's the one by the C domination flag, and there's the one up by the A domination flag in that building. The vast majority of spawns you'll find in firing range will be within one of these 3 zones, and normally these spawns will rotate between these 3 zones. So once you know these 3 zones, it's actually quite easy to predict spawns just based on your teammates' positioning. Within those zones, these are the actual spawn points that you will typically find, although there are a couple other ones mixed in, but these are the most common ones. And that's pretty much all you need to know as far as standard gameplay with firing range. The spawns are quite simple and easy to predict, although I will also show you the secondary spawns here in red. With these spawns, you will sometimes see these if all of the other spawn zones seem to be blocked off, although I will say that they tend to be quite rare, especially in Domination. You won't typically see these red spawns. But with that, that's going to wrap it up for Maps Exposed on firing range. I'd like to know in the comment section below, first off, what do you guys think about firing range? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Or are you just kind of sick of it from playing it in previous Call of Duty games? And also, which map would you like me to cover next for this series? Keep in mind, I've already covered Arsenal as well as Contraband. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.
Yeah.